we're going to be talking about Arcane, which is a show I liked a reasonable amount. Yeah. And more specifically, we're talking about Caitlyn and Powder/Jinx. And how those two characters are foils. And you may be asking, hey Comet, what's a foil? Well, I'll tell you. A foil are two characters in a story setting whose character and traits mirror each other in a way that causes their actions to highlight each other's character flaws and strengths. Now, in the show Arcane, it's more so showcasing the character's flaws than it is their strengths. Except towards the end of the show, I feel like it does show the character's strengths a little bit. Also, spoilers for Arcane Season 1 and 2, obviously. We're going to be talking about specific story events. So, if you don't want to spoil it, then go watch the show, but come back, please come back. I'll cry if you don't, and I'll know. I'll send you a video of me crying because you left me. Anyways, I love both Caitlyn and Jinx's characters. I think they're great. So to see how their personalities reflect one another and highlight different aspects of each other, we have to kind of break down what each of these characters' personalities is. So let's start with Caitlyn. I would say that Caitlyn is an idealist. And on the opposite hand of that, I would say that Jinx is a pessimist, but more so leaning towards nihilistic because she does have a tendency to want to die a lot. I can't blame her though. I don't know how to spell pessimist, and I don't think I spelled nihilistic right either. But we're gonna move on. So you can see how these, already they're kind of combating each other in that realm. And further moving on, Caitlyn is very much more. See, these personality traits kind of shift a little bit in season 2, but we're starting with season 1, so okay. So season 1 Caitlyn is also, I would say, a logic over emotions kind of person. And she thinks with her head more than she does her heart. Now, because of Jinx's
what the fuck is this kid doing?
The voice frequent fits of psychosis that do influence her actions a lot. She's gonna be more of a emotional beast here. It's like emotions over logic in Jinx's case there. And because of that, Caitlyn is more of a methodical character. And Jinx is more of a loose cannon. Wink, wink. Sorry if my handwriting shit. Actually, I'm not. I'm just gonna deal with it. But one of the traits that both of these characters have in common is that they're both very intelligent. Yeah, and I think that's what I'm going to leave the breakdown at for right now. So we have their personality traits and how these things highlight each other. Like, Caitlyn's idealism shows off Jinx's nihilistic nature, and pretty much every time they interact in season 1 before the dinner party. What's it called? Because Jinx meets Caitlyn and immediately assumes the worst and thinks that her sister's betraying her and gonna leave her. Well, Caitlyn, at this current moment in time, does not necessarily like Jinx and does think she's a completely unhinged individual, but she has faith in our conjoining factor in these two characters' stories. Where did she go? She is. The one and only Undercut McQueer. She's the conjoining factor here. The thing that ties these characters' values together is that they both want to protect Vi. And they have their different reasons for it, but they both want to protect this guy right there. What was I fucking talking about? Oh yeah, the idealism and nihilism. And then again, we're gonna go for the emotions over logic over emotions and emotions versus logic here. Jinx's logical mind knows that her voices are there to antagonize her, but she frequently gives in to them anyways. Caitlyn doesn't have voices that we are made aware of during the show. She might, I don't know. British people are pretty weird. Caitlyn doesn't have voices. Yeah, she doesn't have voices. And I think we can see how that logic over emotion is really present in the scene in which she shoos away Savika from Vi and keeping Vi from, like, you know, dying. Because Vi also tries to die pretty frequently in the show. You know, sisters, family affair, suicide. But she doesn't kill Savika because logically she knows that would cause further disparities between Piltover and the Lanes. So she doesn't kill Savika even though she could have in that moment because she is a sharpshooter and very good at shooting things. Moving on. And then we're going to go with methodical versus loose cannon. I would argue that Caitlyn's methodical is not much different from Jinx's loose cannon. Because, yes, Jinx kind of, like, does do a lot of things on a whim, but within those, like, I'm gonna do this because I can do this sort of things, there is a semblance of planning there because she is smart. Like, Caitlyn is smart. More specifically with the explosion to steal the Hex Tech stone orb thing. She caused a distraction so she can sneak into the academy building and steal it. Yes? Yes. you would argue that's pretty methodical, but it's the fact that she did it on impulse and over emotional reason because she feels like Silico is losing faith on her ability to do her job. Okay. Furthermore, these characters' story arcs. This purple fucking sucks. Also mirror each other in a way. And that's in the way how they develop emotionally due to the events and occurrences in the show. Anyone who's watched the show knows what I'm talking about. Because, wow. Towards like, early season 2, Caitlyn starts acting a lot more like Jinx. And Jinx also, this is the thing that people don't like, you know, super agree on with me, but like I'm right, is that Caitlyn starts to act a little bit more like, Jinx starts to act a lot more like Caitlyn. Because, spoiler alert guys, these guys are low-key the same fucking character. Which it really, I'm getting on a tangent here, because this really fucking irks me, right? Listen, come on, look at me. This irks me, because Jinx is such a well-liked character. So many people love Jinx, right? Right. Understandable. She's such a complex and fun character. But those same people absolutely fucking hate Caitlyn. Even though that character has a lot of the same complexities as Jinx does. Because
they're low-key the same fucking character. Because they're foils.
Moving on. I've been boiling water for tea, and it's still not done boiling, and it's pissing. I am just stupid. Yeah. I'm gonna set this down. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. Where the fuck did my marker go? Okay. So, since Vi is their conjoining factor here, I'm going to talk about these characters' story arcs in the context of Violet here. Hey, you guys want to guess which character I relate to the most? Take a wild guess. Anyways. So... Ooh. Sorry. So Jinx's story in terms of interaction with Vi, I'm gonna start with the creation of Jinx for this. We're not really gonna be talking about Powder a whole lot, unfortunately. Sorry, I can see myself in a mirror like that way, and I keep. Anyways, so. Jinx's story starts with Vi abandoning her in her eyes. Okay. This is another thing. The amount of fucking hate and blame that Vi gets for what fucking happened at the cannery. That is... If you were 14... and your sibling just accidentally killed your dad and siblings, I don't think you would be able to be super understanding and immediately calm about that situation. Vi had left to go catch a breather so she wouldn't hurt her sister again. Because you could see immediately after she did it, she felt bad. She looked at her hands like they were contagious. Anyways, moving on. So that's the first point in the story. She's abandoned by. Ooh. She's abandoned by her sister. And then Caitlyn's story interaction with Vi. Starts with them joining forces, which is in complete contrast to Jinx's start with Vi. You see how it, you see. Right. Now it's. Should I put some sugar on it? Now you can see. You can. You see that these two things. It's like a fucked up mirror. That's what a character foil is. It's like a fucked up carnival mirror. Caitlyn looks in the mirror and all of a sudden she's short. And Jinx looks in the mirror and all of a sudden she's really tall. Like, you know? Anyways, next thing. And throughout the next part of this arc, Caitlyn and Vi's relationship is growing stronger. And now through this next part of the arc, Jinx and Vi's relationship is being weakened because of thoughts of being betrayed, because Jinx finds out that Vi is with an enforcer, which is Pookie Bear Caitlyn here, Count Fagula, my fave. She's not my favorite character. Her and Jinx like share top spot for my favorite character. Right under that is Isha. Those are my favorite characters. Vi is also one of my favorite characters, but in a different way. Because I relate to this character a lot. If you couldn't tell. Also, I got my tongue pierced, guys. Look. Anyways. So. Jinx is experiencing betrayal during this arc, and their relationship is strengthening during this arc. And then there becomes the fateful. Yes. The smoke signal. This is one of the times that, what's it called? The arc to like here, like at this point, is one of those foil moments where the reaction to what happens is, what the fuck is that? Is like low-key the same, but not really. Caitlyn finds out that Vi's sister is Jinx. Jinx finds out the rumors were true that Vi was an enforcer, right? Yes, right. So this causes Caitlyn to start to distrust Vi again a little bit. But not like a whole super lot, it's a little bit. But this causes Jinx to kind of fucking lose it a little bit. Cause she's like, you're here to get me. She becomes paranoid in regards to Vi. You know, even more so than before. And also, another thing that's in common with these two characters in the relationship with Vi is that the interactions with Vi weakens some of their other character relationships. Yes, we all got that. We all understand. Because the more Jinx finds out about Vi being back in the lanes, the more she begins to distrust those around her, which is namely Silico. Unpopular opinion for some fucking reason. I don't like Silico. He's a creep. He's a creep slimeball. I don't fucking like him. Moving on. Yes. And now we go from here to the bridge. The bridge. One of the coolest fight scenes of the show. Actually, all the really cool fight scenes, in my opinion, have something to do with Echo. Okay. Smoke signal, the bridge. Smoke signal, the bridge. So at this point, Jinx has been, ever since they left the Firelight hangout, Jinx has been like stalking Vi and Caitlyn, because when is she not doing those things? Fuck, what were they doing? Oh yeah, and in between there, Jinx is only getting further and further in her head, and Caitlyn's rationale is just strengthening when it comes to Vi, where she's like, this person has a good heart, and I'm going to continue to believe in that person's good heart. Yeah, it's only strengthening here. Like, this distrust gets like wiped pretty fast. They get closer, and and Jinx continues to spiral. Yes, we get that. We understand. All right. So on the bridge. This is one of the big important points of the logic and emotions thing. Because when gunshots start going off on the bridge, a logical response is to go, if you care for anyone in that situation, is to go help and make sure that everyone's okay. Jinx immediately takes Vi going to help Caitlyn as being abandoned a second time, which is an irrational response to what just played out there. And so she blows everything up, right? And Caitlyn manages to still have a pretty logical and methodical course of action after being blown up a second time, and that is to go get to her house so she can talk to her mom about requesting an audience. She was like, okay, but she's like, yeah, I just got blown up, but we need to do this, this, and this. And then she very quickly restructures her plan after finding out the orb is gone again. So Jinx took it. Again, dynasties and dystopia. Cool fucking scene. So slay. And the moment on the bridge, and the bridge and the moments after, solidify Kate's trust in Vi, and also consequently, Caitlyn's now in love with Violet. Because, you know, lesbians. It hasn't even been like 3 days, but yeah, we're in love now. And the bridge to our next event, the bridge to the next event, solidifies in Jinx's mind Vi's corruption. She's been corrupted by the Enforcer. She never really hates Violet until she sibling relationships are complicated. Let's just put it that way. This solidifies this paranoia and betrayal for Jinx. It's like, this is, my sister hates me now. This is what she believes. Yeah, she's now, my sister hates me, my dad's been lying to me, and I never liked Savika in the first place. So that's like, she has nobody in nothing right now. She's at a low. And also, she did just die a little bit. And now she's, she died a little. Also, character similarity. Jinx gets injured, Caitlyn gets injured, and both of their father figures do something to help fix them up after that. Caitlyn said does her stitches, Silico takes her the Singed. Fuck Singed, by the way. Why did he get a happy ending? Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. He sucks. I hate Singed. Kidding. I don't fully hate any of these characters because they're all very complex and they all have their reasonings to make their actions seem correct in their mind. Like, I don't hate Silico. I just don't like him a whole lot. Yeah. Yes, so now it's time for the dinner party. Also, we have to talk about, in between Vi getting to the dinner party, Jinx had Caitlyn kidnapped for an entire day. An entire day, which Jinx likely tortured Caitlyn for that entire day. Anyways, right, moving on. So we're at the dinner party now. Everything is bad and sucks. And this is when we start to see a paradigm shift in the characters' personalities. This is the first time we see Caitlyn start acting with emotions over her logic, and I'm gonna go out and say that Jinx's attack on the council was methodical. Cause if it was just like a real honest to God, like, I'm crazy, she could have fired that rocket anywhere. But she decided to fire the rocket at a place that caused the what she believes to cause most of her hurt, most of her pain, most of her troubles, most of her struggles. Yes. It is still a very emotional, like, response, but whatever. So, the first time we see Caitlyn start acting with emotions over her logic is when she doesn't shoot Jinx because Violet tells her not to. And then of course Jinx fired the cannon, blew up the cancel, and now Caitlyn's mom is dead. Oopsie! Oh no! And that's when these characters start to flip. Caitlyn starts to lose her idealistic views, and I feel like I should do it a different color. Just to lose her idealistic views and becomes more nihilistic. Because her mom is dead, and her mom's dead, and Vi does not want to become an enforcer, and she thinks that going after Jinx alone, at least either her or Vi is going to end up dead. She's assumed that there's like nothing she can do to change that, so she starts to become more nihilistic. And Jinx, okay, let me put mom dead. Hey mom, dead mom, I need a little help here. That was so bad. Dead mom, dead mom. Alright, her mom's dead. Right. And Jinx here meets Loisha. And this starts flipping her paradigm to not necessarily becoming an idealist, but she starts to become more optimistic. Because Isha's has brought her joy and helped, and now she also has a relationship with Savika that's more positive. And she's kind of built herself a little family, and her voice has stopped for the most part. And then after, when it comes to logic over emotions, Caitlyn is nothing but grief and anger for most of season 2. So she's emotions take the crown for her in this season. Now, Jinx still remains a pretty emotionally run person because growing up in the lanes, I think it's actually pretty common for those that you're close with to just kind of have a heart out on the sleeve, because both Vi and Jinx are very much run by their heart more than their brain at any point in time. But yeah. But she starts to become it's more like emotion and logic kind of start working together, because Jinx now understands that she needs to protect Isha, and that's her main priority and goal, and she knows that logically that she needs to do stuff to stay out of danger, which is, i.e., letting Jinx die, she knows that going out and being a face of this revolution and like frequently appearing is going to get either her or the people around her killed. So she's starting to become a little more smart about those things. We also, what was I gonna say? Wasn't gonna put methodical, but Jinx becomes a lot more level-headed in this season. Because like her infiltration of Stillwater does not carry the flair for the dramatic that Jinx usually has when she does literally anything. So she's being level-headed, she's being logical, and she's also being methodical with her plan on how to get these people out. Yeah. Caitlyn, on the other hand, she goes from like methodical to sadistic and unhinged. So which is a pretty, yeah. So as when the best starts coming out of Jinx, the worst starts coming out of Caitlyn. But one thing that stays is like these are both very intelligent characters. Bro, this video is gonna be like make no fucking sense at all. Where was I at? Alright. And I'm gonna say this paradigm shift between these two characters happens over the course. Happens over the course of Act 1. The events of Act 1 create these characters, right? Now with that, let's talk about what happens to the relationship with Vi in this act. Right. With the introduction of Isha and learning to take care of Isha, Jinx begins to understand Vi and her motivations a lot more. And because of that, I think to an extent, because in that scene, that fight, that Act 3 fight, not Act 3, the Act 1 fight between Jinx, Caitlyn, and Vi, Jinx wanted to die. She wanted to lose that fight. Her intent was to kill herself in a dramatic way. And we know this because at the end of the fight, when they win, when Jinx wins the fight because of Isha and everything else, she goes, no, this isn't how this is supposed to go. She wanted her sister to kill her. Because she understands Vi a whole lot more at this point. Right? Yes. She understands Vi a whole lot more at this point, and she begins to understand that regardless of what Vi is doing, Vi was never going to give up on her as a person. And since Vi is now under the impression that Jinx won't let her love her, she's just trying to protect the only person that she knows right now loves her back. Because at this point, she's assumed that Jinx is fully gone off the wire and no longer cares for her, right? Or whatever. But again, we also see in this scene that Vi does a whole lot of things in this scene, in that final scene with that fight, where she does little things that would keep what's it called? Jinx from getting super injured. Like, she breaks her fall a couple of times, like, what looks pretty intentionally, and among other things, but whatever. That's not what we're talking about right now. And where was I going with this? Oh yeah, but at the end of Act 1, Caitlyn's relationship with Vi is situationship ended, Butch fumbled. And Vi and Jinx and Vi's relationship at the end of Act 1 is now non-reconcilable, even though, actually, I don't care. Look, Act 1, both of their relationships with Vi at the end of Act 1 is bad, right? It's just bad. Vi's fucking down and out in Act 2. Alright, now, let's get into Act 2 and maybe be a little bit more coherent about this. Act 2 of Season 2, Caitlyn and Vi, this is where Act 2, Caitlyn and Vi drift further and further apart from each other, and that trench grows. But Act 2, Vi and Jinx, that relationship starts to re-strengthen, you know, growing into like a nice little tree, whatever, because they're understanding and coming to terms with something that's always been true for both of them, is that it really doesn't matter what either of them do. It's at the end of the day, they're still gonna be family and they're still gonna care about each other, regardless of how much they do to deny those things, right? So the relationship starts to grow back together, and they become like, you know, they become siblings again, and it was really great, and it was super awesome. And then Jace. I'm not a Jace hater either. I actually like Jace. I think his story arc was great. They were happy for 5 seconds. Like, give a bitch a break. Give a bitch a break! But at the end of Act 1, Vi and Jinx are in a lot better place, and Vi and Caitlyn are in each other's presence again. I wouldn't say... Oh! And this is another example of Caitlyn acting with emotion over logic, because in Act 2, she gets called Cupcake once, and she completely switches sides and betrays someone who knows will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that they see Caitlyn and everyone she loves dead. That was a very emotional choice for Caitlyn. Anyways, now we get to Act 3. Let's add a new emotion for Act 3. Because their foils and their stories are so intertwined, by the time they get to Act 3, they both reached about the same conclusions about themselves. Is that the longer I continue to hate this other person, the longer I continue to hate myself because we are the same person. They come to that conclusion. That's why, again, I don't want to hear about the whole like, oh, they fucking handled Vi and Caitlyn so poorly in Act 3 and blah 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 blah. Where's the conversation? Take a look at these fucking characters. Look at these characters, yeah, and their actions, and think about it. Think about it for 2 fucking seconds. Why they didn't have that super emotional conversation right then and there. Just think about these characters. Think about these characters. These characters. Caitlyn has only ever cried in front of Vi once. And the same goes for Vi to Caitlyn. And even then, Caitlyn left her fucking crying on the floor. These characters have the emotional vulnerability and capability of fucking rocks. So, that's why the way they did the reconciliation makes so much sense, is to do it inadvertently, because everything about these characters, when they do and start to care for each other, is inadvertent. They never do giant direct displays of that. Except Vi does it when in that Let me get back on topic. They come to the realization about how similar they are to each other, and it's like, for her, it's Jinx being like, I need to end the cycle, killing herself, and then Caitlyn, it's like, I need to let Jinx go, and everything that comes with that. Yes. So at this point in the story, both Caitlyn and Jinx have reached the same conclusion within the relationship divide, is that we need to let each other go and that hatred with each other go for the sake of Vi, because we both love Vi more than we should be hating each other. And Caitlyn's way of enacting that is allowing Vi to let Jinx out and escape, and for Jinx, that's killing herself so Vi can live happy without the guilt, which I don't know how that would work. Personally, if my sister killed herself so I could be happy, I think I would still feel guilty about that for the rest of my life. Yeah. Actually, I don't think anything that happens in the big battle is super relevant to them being foils. Except for it's another example of Jinx being more level-headed than Caitlyn during this fight, because Caitlyn's just like fucking throwing herself around like a fucking rag doll and like almost dying every 3 seconds. And Jinx, with the help of Echo, planned out a full-scale, like, basically additional front invasion. Like, she built the whole thing. It's a lot more complicated and planned than Caitlyn's plan to, you know, throw herself at shit and hope it works. Yep. Then of course, Jinx dies, And Caitlyn obviously knows she's not dead. She's looking at the little thing and knows she's not dead. She knows she's not dead. But yeah, that's about it. I know this video has probably made absolutely zero fucking sense. It has more just been me yelling than anything. But if you want to see more videos like this, comment down below. Tell me what you think I should talk about next. If it's more arcane, I'm so down. And like, subscribe. Like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week, where I run over a small orphanage and then blow them up. I don't know why I said that. See you guys next week. Next week's video is a skit video about California, because guess where I live? California.